Don't fret. Nobody's gonna blame you if you go back empty-handed. I can't, but if you dally any longer, you really won't make it.
You're right. It's a very important commemorative event. If I'm late, then... right, I've gotta get going.
Wait, she heard that? Paimon was whispering so quietly!
And as for this outlander you seem to be following... So it's you. The honorary knight that saved us from Storm Terror. Well then, given your status, I won't press you on your reasons for eavesdropping. Otherwise, depending on your answer, I could have arrested you on the spot.
What? Do the Sisters of Mondstadt have the authority to arrest people now?
We can't go turning a blind eye to hidden dangers, can we? Why shouldn't sisters have a sense of justice?
That doesn't sound right. But Paimon can't think of a good comeback.
Let's talk about you. What are you doing in the mountains? But you're only a traveler. I doubt you have any... Whatever. I had a notion of who you were seeking. If it's him you're after, I made a point of noting his tracks. Many people have made their way up after the snow...
So, are you up?
No, this is just a professional habit of mine. I sensed elemental traces in these tracks. Never hurts to be vigilant. I couldn't care what you think. Come on then. I'd like to see what he's up to anyway.
Rosaria said there were elemental traces in the tracks.
Wait. Huh? No. Whatever.
You know, little pixie, your ability to appear and disappear at will is very interesting.
Yeah?
After committing a crime, you'd be able to leave this...
It's getting colder and colder. Rosaria, aren't you freezing?
Me? I'm all right. I got used to operating in adverse conditions a long time ago.
Huh? Seems like there's more to being a sister in the Favonius Church than Paimon realized. Albedo? Why would he hang around
The word on the street is he loves painting. He'll hang around anywhere for a good landscape. The views and scenery here are...
But can't he see those hilichurls? Uh-oh. Looks like we startled them. Enough talk! Let's take them out of the picture first!
Who are you? Thank the gods I'd already completed my painting. Would have been a shame to leave these particular hilichurls unfinished.
What's up with painting hilichurls?
I'm afraid the answer isn't easy to explain. If you'd like to have a look at my painting, it may give you a clue.
Wow! Look at the
You can find these hilichurls anywhere. Quite boring, in fact. Not worth. But take a look at this specimen. The build, the coat, and there's a distinct force at work here. In the cyclical lives of such primitive communities, such unique attributes are an indication of evolution at work. Evolution, the transition from nothing into existence, from the known to the
Hold your horses. Ugh, something tells me we're in for a thesis and I haven't got the stamina. We found your man. I'm headed back.
What? Don't you have any questions? What a...
So Sister Rosaria brought you. Surprising. And I didn't have time to thank her. But back to the point. From her...
We met a girl in Mondstadt, Sucrose.
I see. So Sucrose sent you here. Then, if I'm not mistaken, you must be the honorary knight. I've heard a bit of everything. Your actions during Storm Terror's attack, your elemental control, and I'll skip to the conclusion. There's only one possibility after all. You came from afar. From another world, correct? Excellent. If I could procure your assistance, I think my research would benefit... forgive me. This must...
Whoa, you...
You're right. Giving a demonstration would be better than trying to explain. For example, awakening life. Breathing new life into fallen leaves.
You can do that?
However, I have a particular seed in my possession. It's like you, in that it hails from another world. Helping it to grow, to bloom.
Well, if you're struggling to figure it...
I beg to differ. I'm unable to comprehend the intricacies of life outside, but you're not from the known world. By observing and researching you...
Shall we just get out of here? This sounds a little freaky.
Mora, knowledge, and the answer to the question you are seeking. Time for a change of surroundings.
Albedo and that traveler seem to have hit it off. Takes a weirdo to know one, I guess. I wonder, does this constitute a risk to Mondstadt?
quietly now.
Paimon has a question. After the seed sprouts, will it grow into anything?
I don't know, but I feel the importance will lie in the method, not the endpoint. Using alchemy to awaken otherworldly life into that would constitute a big leap in my understanding of the essence of life. After awakening, even creation may be possible. Still a little difficult to understand?
No, Paimon's got a brain. But what's the seed gonna become? Isn't that more interesting than whatever it was you were saying?
Well, if it turns out to be a delicious fruit, dinner's on me.
Yay! Paimon's holding you to it.
Well, let's just say I, occasionally have to look after a child. Another lengthy explanation, I'm afraid. I suppose it's one of the few non-alchemy related disciplines I'm any good at. The subject of my first research was the elements. In this world, manipulating the elements requires a vision. Though I can't see anything resembling one on your person, how you're able to freely manipulate elemental power is something I'd like to ascertain. I've got a few questions in that regard. Firstly, do you have any extra organs? A second heart? A fourth? Fascinating. And this floating child is connected to your body in some way?
What a stupid question! Can't you see the gap between us? And another thing, it's Paimon, not floating child.
I was merely considering the possibility that you were an external organ. Perhaps there is some invisible force connecting you. Oh, that rules out that possibility. I wonder, did Paimon guide the elemental power to you? But that would mean that Paimon's elemental power would be enough to break through a mountain rock at least 10 meters thick, or cause the waterfall south of Springville to flow backwards. No, that definitely can't be it.
Hey! How would you know anyway?
In that case, it would appear that there's no obvious difference between the composition of your body and that of the humans in this world. Given that there's clearly a discrepancy in our research, it seems that only experimentation will yield the answers. Firstly, this mysterious elemental power. I'd like to examine exactly how it manifests externally. Let me lure a few slimes to the area. Perhaps you'd be able to defeat them, using whatever method comes most naturally to you.
Huh? Doesn't seem very sciencey.
Direct and clear observation are imperative to a good experiment. Naturally, if you require a greater challenge, we could bring in 6 Oceanids.
Slimes! Slimes are fine!
Well, prepare yourself. Here.
You're toast!
Lightning flash!
Busted.
Flicker.
Boba, get them!
Thunderclap! Take this! Great work. If you're injured, I have a few emergency potions ready. Excellent. According to my observations, the manifestation of the external elemental flow is as expected. Elemental reactions are normal. Now that we know that the external flow is manifesting normally, let's test the internal flow.
Internal flow?
It's very simple. I can use alchemy. If the elemental power is stored or accumulated physically within your body, this potion may elicit an elemental
Sounds kinda
Don't worry. In the normal course of events, you'd feel some temporary queasiness. No bodily.
And in the
If anything unexpected occurs, I've made the necessary preparations. Well, it's not that there aren't any risks involved. But if there is anything blocked, just a warning. If an internal elemental reaction occurs for any other reason, that's a bad sign. Yes, that's an excellent way to think about it. Before we get started, the potion we'll use for the test is missing a catalyst. It's a type of ore known as star silver. I'll take you to my campsite. We can gather some star... All going to plan.
Paimon's still got a few safe... Let's keep our eyes...
Here. Should do for catalyst purposes. This one. Usable with a bit of polish. What luck. This should be enough. My campsite is just up ahead. I'll lead the way.
Good roll. All right, maybe I'll take one more day off and knock out the rest of the work once I'm feeling up to it. Take it easy.
This is my campsite. I've added the materials. While we are waiting, have a look over here. My assistant Timaeus here is helping me with my research. I'm guessing you may—
Hello! I've just gotten hold of the data from your experiment. The report is already up.
Whoa! Look at all the data!
I wouldn't call them results. I think the most rational direction would be to expound on the phylogenetic relationship between this traveler and the slimes. Consider. You don't have a vision, but you can manipulate elemental energy. The slimes, following this line of thought, I'm sure we'll be able to establish a basis in fact.
Not bad for a point of entry. But strictly speaking, slimes are elemental life forms. In other words, a cryoregisvine or even a whopperflower might be a better analogy. But tracing back the phylogenetic relationship in that sense, things might—
Yes, sir. That sounds correct.
After all, we've got our primary data already. If it turned out that he did have a phylogenetic relationship with this world—
Ah, it would. Apologies. Speaking of data, to complete our research, we'll—
Great, I'll leave you to it. Looks like the potion's ready. I'll try a little first. In line with my expectations. Ready to drink. Remember to keep—
Doesn't s—
Tasty? You've got a funny look on your face. You said you tried some already.
Oh, this was the result I was expecting. This potion channels elemental power into the body. Under normal circumstances. But if the internal elemental flow is unimpeded, you'll only experience
So you knew you'd be sick and...
It was my own concoction, of course. Only natural for me to be the guinea pig. But of course, you're my assistant. By all— In conclusion, I'd say we have our conclusion. As far as elemental energy is concerned—
Aw, Paimon wanted something...
Then again, better an ordinary result than a peculiar result. Peculiar results have a tendency to be of the— The good thing about ordinary is that everything is an object of reference, and everyone understands you. People are the same, they can— When you're sick, a doctor can diagnose you, but a peculiar person— They don't have much recourse for the things we take for granted. The essence of their life is— For example, a human can't understand the life of a pyroregisvine, or an Eye of the Storm. Have I explained it clearly enough? To sum up, this has been a positive outcome. Going forward, you can use your— Timaeus, the results of the new experiment are out. If—
Just a moment, sir. I'll handle it. Oh, you gave me a lot to consider. Having you down as an animal wasn't very precise of me, but starting with—
Not bad. I think it's an interesting line of inquiry. What—
You can count on me, sir.
Is he trying to join the Knights? He's starting to sound like a suck-up. What Paimon meant to say was... That's the spirit?
Before we can proceed with our research, if you're interested, why not have a look around?
Here comes Albedo! Let's go see him!
I'm back. Did you see anything interesting? Agreed. Well, there may be significant differences between... Take Tevat, for example. Here, but worlds may well exist where only one person is able to do so. So, leaving elements to one side. I think answering this question calls for the same methodology as last time. In other words, no. You shan't be Now, see this pillar here? Use your willpower to try and break it.
You think Paimon knows how to...
That was your best effort? Have you tried I'm curious to see how the taste and texture respond. It may even help with proliferation. I suppose. Anyway, why don't you cook us up a sunshine?
Cooking?
Not only is this recipe a staple for me...
Paimon... That does sound yummy, though. Okay, Paimon approves. Good, buddy.
I'll leave you to it then. Look, if there's anything left over, maybe Timaeus can finish the last...
Paimon doesn't think... How are we gonna channel elemental power into the food? Maybe try... Get these ideas from anyway? Let's just do it the old-fashioned way.
That was fast. An average outcome experimentally, but you've really brought out the... As far as the proliferation hypothesis is concerned, unless...
We just didn't know how to channel elemental power into the food. It's a little more...
Not to worry. At least we put some food to good... And here's your portion.
Woohoo! Thanks! Glad you were paying attention.
I can tell that you're good friends. Paimon was keeping an eye on you and your Not that Paimon would have been able to do much if...
Hey! You were But you do have tasty recipe. And you're right, we are good friends.
Yes. I'm fortunate. There are all manner of alchemical items here. I managed to retrieve the majority, but 2 vials have been evading me.
Paimon's barely finished.
Don't worry if you can't locate them. If you had, say, superpower, I must have dropped them.
So, guess we'd better take a look. Oh, yeah! This must be electrohypostasis powder. The extract of an animo crystal fly can only be animo elemental energy, right? This is
Goodness. You managed to find... I'm wondering... This...
Yep. Guess it...
Unfortunately, though elemental sight is seldom seen, it is not only a never-before-seen otherworldly power with...
You mean...
Don't be disheartened. I have to commend your deduction that the items... Right then. Up until now, our research has focused on your otherworldly identity. Our research on your... In essence, the differences between humans are looking out from where we're standing. Can you see what Sucrose is doing? And if you jump from here and landed on that cliff, the one over there. So what about if you planted a single blow on the mountain face here, and it burst into a million fragments? Then could you see her? Then I shouldn't get too excited. I know of a location that will be perfect for a physical...
Still in one piece! Good thing the vial's so strong. You want us to jump from up here?
Not necessarily. Not if you know of a better method, that is. Whichever method, I will factor
The opposite side of the...
Without limitations, we complete tasks intuitively, using the method that seems most... Some of us would be unable. No matter what choice you make, it's all a part of the experiment. For me, every detail is invaluable to the research. Then if you would, please.
Wait a minute! While we're busy testing, what exactly are you gonna be doing?
Me? Recording data, responding to risks, providing, emotional support.
So if we do decide to go swimming, you gonna dive in with us?
No. Unless you're thinking of conducting competitive research?
Oh! Forget Paimon said anything.
Great work. Your reputation precedes you, Traveler. The data shows that you're easily outperforming the average citizen.
But you followed us the whole way.
Me? Actually, I use... If it turns out that the natural laws of... If the natural laws of Teyvat do affect you, then I shall... The innumerable possibilities that this could present.
But how does this help your research?
You've helped me to unravel many of the problems that were holding it back. I may be about to make gold, petrified trees, a sun 8 times. The essence of the investigative process is I'm willing to pour all my energy into research. And yet specimens are finite. All these things that start out as objects of fascination.
Oh, so that's why you wanted to paint those hilly churros? Because you got to see...
Precisely. To quote my exact words from earlier, these creatures are, for the most part, quite boring, not worth closer inspection.
So after all these experiments, are we...
Of course not. You have been of greatest... Now, Before we head back to the... Follow me. There are... I imagine you must have encountered more than a few... I'd like to observe your intelligence by means of a practical test of your I'd like you to explore these There are 2 puzzles located at the far ends of the ruins. After complete... As with the physical test, there are no restrictions. A tried and tested... So, let's see you in action. Sealy like these are a common sight in the mountains. Returning them to their rightful places is up to you.
Quietly now.
Nice and spicy.
Take this! Yeah!
Out of the frying pan, into the fire. Boba, get them! Eat this!
Here you are. Lightning flash!
It's a complex environment, so proceed with caution. It should now be possible to activate the central mechanism. Exactly what will happen when you do is something I'm looking forward to finding out. Oh, seems that the water level has suddenly decreased. What's this? To the best of my knowledge, these belong to a script of some kind. There's still a lot to learn about them. Let me make a copy first.
Another thing for the don't understand list. Unsolvable mystery this, weird experiment that. It'd be nice to get some cool results for once. Seems like if you want the reward, you gotta pay the price.
I've truly gained a lot from all this. Comparatively, the little reward I can offer is too small to mention. Let me return to the campsite first. By the time you get back, I may just have a fleeting miracle for you to witness.
Paimon's kinda looking forward to seeing the results of all this brain ache. Unless you can think of anything better to do, let's head back to the campsite.
Not so fast. You're not leaving until I'm convinced that nothing dangerous is going on here.
You! You didn't leave the mountain?
I most certainly did not. And I've witnessed everything that you and Albedo have been up to. I must say, you let your guards down. Or maybe you were drawn in by his compelling-sounding hypothesis and friendly demeanor. Taking orders from a complete stranger? Drinking anonymous? I'd sooner believe you were tricked than that you would be so naive. Or perhaps you were colluding.
Sister Rosaria's guard's so high, she can't even see over the top of it.
It doesn't matter what you think. He could be a saint for all you know. But I understand him a little better. I'm only concerned with one thing. Whether his alchemy has transformed you into something more sinister.
No way! Paimon would have sensed it. And anyway, he didn't even use any alchemy.
With an alchemist of his level, you wouldn't sense a thing. In any case, I'm not about to let a potential...
So, what are you gonna do?
I've got to hand it to you. You have your moments. If I can be sure that nothing you came into contact with is... I've investigated everything else. The only items left...
But we don't even...
That much is true. But for insurance purposes, I'd better make a copy. Now then, all things considered, I deem that you pose no immediate threat, which is what I was hoping. I would have been one very unhappy sister if you'd made me work overtime on your account.
Overtime?
Before we go our separate ways, Outlander, a word of advice. Don't be so quick to trust Albedo, and don't repeat the same mistakes that you did this time. You made a lot of rash decisions today.
She's gone! So stubborn. Mondstadt doesn't have many people like that. Huh.
We should be able to see what's in the water now.
This is the life I chose, after all.
You're back. Good timing. I've just... You took quite a while. Did you get held up on the way back? I wouldn't worry. Time for the results. We got a myriad. But the integral preliminary conclusion that I can offer you is you're very much.
You couldn't tell that just by look. We spent all day working our butts.
Please, I understand that this may have seemed self-evident to you, but in fact, nothing in this world should be taken for granted. Have you ever considered that the world of Tevat may have a natural hostility to Outlanders? I mentioned the natural laws of this world. The only other life form that, like you, has come here from afar is the seed that I mentioned. But after I observed you, imitating you helped to inspire my alchemy. And so...
Whoa! It looks like something's appearing!
The transition from nothing into something, from shoot to stem, is not nurturing otherworldly life also nurturing the world itself? It would seem that
Paimon thought with all our effort...
life is a manifold tap. A short life can be well lived. So, do you understand what I meant about us conversing here arguably being a small miracle?
Huh? Don't be sad. Albedo, Paimon really wants to be your...
Thank you both. Even if dispelling loneliness is not essential for life, it certainly... Your help inspired me to discover the means to make a flower bloom. I mean, the time I've spent traveling with... In the future, if the need arises, can I solicit your help again? Well... I made a point throughout of telling him how ordinary the results were. But what was that sediment I saw forming at the bottom of the vial? It should not have been there. Those born of Earth are bound by its imperfections, but those born of chalk are free of impurities. If, one day, can I rely on you?
kind of place where the big shots of Inazuma live, huh? Paimon kinda expected it to be snazzier.
Welcome at last to the Kamisato residence, honored guests. Miss Kamisato is delighted to finally meet you.
Is this the Shirazage Himegimi you keep going on about? So, where's she at? Oh, behind the screen?
Yes. As the daughter of the Yashiro Commission, this is how Miss Kamisato is accustomed to receiving guests. Consider it a time-honored tradition within the Yashiro Commission. Forgive me if this is an unwelcome surprise.
Makes sense. She's a super important person after all.
Please forgive my lack of courtesy for receiving you in this fashion, especially following such a long and wearisome journey over the sea. I have awaited your arrival with great anticipation, and Toma assures me that you do indeed possess the power to change the tide of the times. At present in Inazuma, in the name of the Vision Hunt Decree, the people's aspirations are being senselessly trampled underfoot. Though the Yashiro Commission serves the Shogun, it is the people with whom we share close bonds, given the contact we are required to have with them in the performance of our duties. A commission's power rises and falls with the trust of their people. Thus, we cannot remain indifferent to this situation without also remaining indifferent to our own fate. Traveler, lend us your power, and we can... Oh.
See, milady, it's just like I said.
No, please! Wait! I will introduce you to the Raiden Shogun on one condition. You must fulfill 3 small wishes on my behalf.
What are your wishes?
They pertain to 3 whose visions were taken from them. Perhaps once you've met...
A warrior who guards a village, a former samurai who helped carry out the Vision Hunt Decree, and a swordmaster determined to become the best in the world. Does Paimon got that right?
Correct. Please do all you can to help them. I will await your return here.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Ayaka told us about.
Why are you doing this? Why leave all of a sudden, after all these years?
Precisely. It's much too sudden. We've had no time to prepare. The children are desperate for you to take them out to play. Please, we urge you to reconsider.
That must be the guy Ayaka told us about. Let's go over and see.
Ah, you must also be. Teijima has protected this, keeping out the treasure hoarders, fending off any monsters that draw. But now, all of us, we will gladly
If you want my opinion, it's clear that Teijima had done nothing wrong, and still they confiscated his vision. I can't claim to fully understand it, but I could tell that truth be told, we aren't sure whether trying to keep him here is the right thing to do.
Seems like he's a well-respected... You must be Teijima.
Me? It's not a question of why I want to leave, but a question of what reason I would have to stay. True, but that's not why I chose to stay here. And what made me want to come here 30 years ago? And why have I never wanted to leave in all that time? I don't have answers to those questions because I can't remember anymore. Ever since they took my vision away, it's like a slice of my memory is gone. In the past, I knew I wanted to stay here. But whatever resolve I had then, it's gone now. So I thought, what's to stop me from moving around instead? The emptiness inside me will be there either way.
Okay. Well, in that case, if we help you rediscover the reason you chose to stay, you won't need to leave anymore, right? But if you can't remember anything, it's not gonna be easy. Oh, maybe if you just try a little harder.
Oh, that reminds me. Last...
I keep a diary.
Oh, yes, you do. And what's more, I remember you...
Perfect! So if we want to keep taking...
If you don't mind, we will leave you to
This looks like Teijima's diary. Let's see what we have. Today, the villagers and I got together to cook dry braised salted fish. I messed up and burned mine a little. Today, I helped rescue a kid who had fallen in the water. After I pulled him out, he told me that his best friend Bamboo was still in the water. I went kite flying today. The string broke, so I chased after it as fast as I could. Seems like it... Huh? I went to pray at the shrine again today and stayed there a while. The Omamori you gave me has faded a little. Now that's the kind of info... So this is the interesting. Looking at the color... But anyway, if he had this with him all...
One day, I'll be as great as Ryuji.
The soil looks like it's been disturbed. Must be something pretty amazing if it It looks like Konda Village. Sounds so familiar. Where? Huh. But he's been here for 30 years. Well,
Well, I'll be... Still, it's clear over the years, I must have made a note of any... And just look at all the things. How could I have forgotten something so important to me? Love? Regret? No. After all, I've forgotten who she was. It's as if she'd never been in my life to begin with. I think... Although... What if she were to turn up eventually? Oh, when I think about it like that, how curious. Why am I thinking... I shall remain here.
Tejima seems to be dealing okay, but still, seems it's just like Ayaka and Tomo. That certainly explains this. At least we were able to. According to Miss Kami-san. They say the Tenryou Commission is directly controlled by the Shogun. They're the ones responsible for maintaining law. But why would they take action? Paimon doesn't get it. Huh? There seems to be some commotion over there. Let's go see what's happening.
I'll ask one more time. Do you and the entire clan is counting on that food?
How many times do I have to say it?
You dare deceive us? Those provisions... You samurai think you can just do whatever you please? The Tenryou Commission will hear of this! Oh, huh? And who are you?
What? We heard the commotion.
I see. You seem to have... This is Kurosawa. He's a samurai and a member of the Shogun. In the past, we'd simply ask him for provisions and everything would... He's keeping the provisions for... No one seems to care about us. It's no wonder all the visions have been confiscated.
This must be one of the people Maybe we should talk to Kur...
I've never even heard of these. I don't know whether it's rumors or whether they're trying to blackmail me. But either way, my own family can barely get by as it is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got other... That's the first bit of truth I've heard all day. The Shogun's army told me that I was unworthy of my vision. And they said...
Well, that's strange. You were helping enforce the vision hunt.
To be perfectly honest, all I know is that I will perform certain things every month. And it's not just...
Does it have to do with the missing
I didn't take any. To top it all off, my house was just raided by treasure hoarders. Which, if you don't believe me, go find the treasure hoarders yourself.
But we better confirm. We should be able to follow...
We really outdid ourselves. All those samurai houses packed with goods.
You haven't seen anything yet. Today's just the beginning. I'll be leading you all... You demand!
These seem like the treasure hoarders were...
Busted!
Take this! Yeah!
I got careless.
Aw, there goes all the Mora. We worked hard to... Come on, boss.
Not bad, kid. You ever think of joining the treasure hoarders? We could use someone like you. Kurosawa. So he's the one who sent you after us, huh?
So what did you see?
Food supplies. You kidding? That place was... I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I would... But now that you've caught us, how about...
You've got a deal!
Huh?
What the... There's nothing...
Yeah, And they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods store. We better talk to this Miss All. As for you guys, you're...
So, we redeemed ourselves for some IOUs.
Shut it.
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got everything you need. Can I help you find something? Or perhaps there's something... Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it?
Whoa! Let's not get it. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foods. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer...
So that's how he was getting those... But why did he have to purchase a usual amount?
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been... Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough, so he deemed it necessary to...
Wow. And no one ever appreciated what he...
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, nobody... if you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supply, of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. As for why he chose to spend his own... If you're still curious, why don't you go ask... I see. Most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no...
Sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? I've asked him about its origins. He told me, in hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Oh, but before...
But...
Information... Don't worry. I won't charge much for information.
At least we now know where the Let's go talk to Kurosawa.
Rebooting.
Yeah! Lightning flash!
What are you doing?
I presented them with a choice. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoard?
That just about sums it up. It turns out—
Strange. I don't really have any such. Why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? But I could not deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense that my body was somehow reluctant to this sword. I remember once when I was young, I wanted to sneak out with the blade. And what did he say? It would seem that I forgot many important. All I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade and said,
Hey! If you look carefully, can you recognize the words?
virtue? Somehow those two words seemed taking on seemingly endless debts to me. But what use are virtue and justice? The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the irony of all of it is, I'm incapable of being a good person.
Yet another troubled soul. When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like losing all ambition is Fortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the...
Don't worry. Zuko will
third person who had their vision taken? Paimon heard that he's the present-day master of Make-Yoshi. This is his dojo. Luckily,
Nanako, don't worry. Sensei will be... Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought...
Maybe, but things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcist...
Hey there!
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while... Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live to regret it.
No! You got it so wrong. We just came here to,
Disciple?
Yep. We've heard all about them, but then we got here and overheard you talk.
From the way you're dressed, it doesn't look like you're from around here. Please, accept my apologies. We've had so many people trying to cause us trouble recently. You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently, and he's still recovering. He's not... I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, Sensei's name is Domon. A name, though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He then proceeded to defeat many other prominent sword masters. He once said that his goal was to become... And so, even while training us, he continued to... But then...
not long ago, Sensei, he says the strangest things over. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's being possessed by an evil spirit. So, we've asked the shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine to perform an exorcism. But if I'm honest, I still have my doubts over whether he'll completely recover.
The Grand Narukami?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami. Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. So don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is going to be just fine. The exorcism will take place this evening. You're both more than welcome to come and watch if you're interested.
So...
So you decided to come. It's a good thing you didn't arrive any earlier. Just now, when Nanako was attending to him, when she asked him who the people were, he suddenly looked... It looked like he was in great distress. He was... All the while he kept calling those names. Some of them we knew. Others we didn't. One of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's. His senior, in fact. But since Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name, the ritual has now begun. Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch some...
Huh? Who's that sneaking around? We won't let them get away with... Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up? Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little further up. Aha! Suspicious person sighted!
How? Are you sure you're... Unless...
Excuse me? And what are you doing
Bad news? I'll have you know I don't care to talk about that time anymore.
His senior?
Anzai? Yes. That because I don't wish to see Domon or anyone else associated with him. When we were young, we trained under the same sword master. I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked up to me. Practitioners of Make-Yoshi's Sui art seek to achieve stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. So the majority of disciples are indifferent, but Domon was different. The First thing he did when he joined was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beaming smile on his face, how Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for such vain ends. Sensei said that coveting the title of the best sword master, barely days into his training, showed that he had a fickle mind. I thought so too at the time. But Domon began making swift Only then did I realize that it was Domon. He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world.
Sure sounds like he meant business.
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained the... Domon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, I lost not just the map. Later, I heard that he sparred with Sensei too. Sensei was advanced in years by then, and after that I wanted nothing further to do with him. So, when I heard rumors that he had lost his mind, my first reaction was to I decided to quietly come and see if it were true. So you see, I came here... Okay, you've heard my story.
Seems like we got it. Still, Paimon's not sure we should bring him.
What? Does that mean he's just lost?
Nanako, please. Try not to get agitated.
I am sorry. With what powers I have, I could... But spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, many of which I cannot claim to have and all is certainly not lost. For I received word...
Lady Yae? Is that...
The head shrine maiden of the Grand Narukami Shrine? That's wonderful news! Then Sensei will be sure to recover.
Correct. Lady Yae is most knowledgeable. I am unable to say for certain whether an evil spirit has possessed your sensei, but Lady Yae can give a conclusive verdict.
Excuse me, Miss Inagi.
That won't be necessary. All that is required of you is your timely arrival at the Grand Narukami Shrine. I must leave now, but we will meet soon at the shrine.
Who'd have thought Lady Yae herself would have taken notice of our sensei's case?
Do you mean to say that Sensei isn't renowned?
No, that's not what I meant at all. I just mean this is Lady Yae, the head shrine maiden. She has direct and close contact with... Anyway, given that you've traveled all this way just to meet...
Sure! After all, everyone seems pretty excited about... Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to...
What? Huh?
Do you think that's Lady Yae? Also, is it just Paimon? Or did she look it was probably...
Keep away. I gave up the art of the sword. Please.
As you can see, Domon has persisted in this state for some time now. He appears to see those who have...
Lady Yae, it must be this is nothing like him at all. In the past, no matter what...
I'm sorry. It is clear to me that your sensei is not possessed by any
But... then did...
Yes. This is a change in the person himself. Unable to cope with the tremendous pressure he was under, he suffered a spiritual collapse. With his wits as one who is thrown into the sea, though he fights back desperately against his As for what has triggered this change, I believe it must be the loss of his vision. For to be stripped of one's vision is to be stripped of one's ambition.
Stripped of his ambition? But Lady Yae, even without his ambition, Why should he suffer such a
Your school practices Meikyo Shisui art, does it? Stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. What a fine notion that would be if any in this... There was once one who claimed to be indifferent to rank and reward, and who fled enraged when defeated by his junior. And then there was... What of the one who crossed blades with his own sensei and beloved fellow disciple?
Lady, I'm not sure
The path of the sword masters it requires one to take their sword firm. Only a deep commitment to his ambition to become the best made it possible for him to rise above the pain. When that ambition disappeared, he began to doubt himself. As he...
Poor sensei.
I'm sorry, Father.
That's enough.
Huh? Isn't that... Did he follow us the whole way here?
Ansai, why are there two of you? You're here for revenge, aren't you?
You're right to assume that my feelings towards you are far from kindly. It's been so long now that I made peace with it years ago. You did nothing wrong that day. I don't think most of the people you beat along the way would hold it against you. On the contrary, now I know that we can't place our hopes in you any longer. But that is no reason to strip them of theirs. Follow the way of the sword all the way.
But what if one day I put everything I had into trying to become the best? If there's a chance they'll end up like me one day, I'd rather they stay where they are now than go any further down this.
Have you asked them what they think?
Sensei, after you rescued me from the hands of the pirates, I told myself I can't know whether I will suffer in my future as you do now. All I know is that here and now, in the present, I wish to continue. I want to keep going until the day that I can stand before everyone.
Nanako's far from the only one.
Goodness.
You see? You being stripped of your ambition is something that's never happened to me. So I can't... So, just as I once placed my ambitions onto you, you are not in the same position that I was. When I left...
I'm sorry to have made you work. I no longer have the resolve to become the best in the world. But as your sensei, this is my promise. And I humbly...
You can count on that. I'd be checking in on you occasionally anyway, but I am now used to the life of a wanderer. I do not belong in the dojo anymore. Well, don't just stand there staring at me.
So even though his ambition was taken away...
Traveler, a moment, please.
So, the wind that blows from afar carries fresh life to these shores. For us to meet now is premature. Nevertheless, you set foot on these islands at precisely the right moment. I have high hopes for you, child.
Ooh, Lady Yacht, she seems super mysterious. But, we can come back. Guess who fulfilled all your wishes? Huh? Ayaka!
Huh? Huh?
Traveler, Paimon, It is a pleasure to finally meet you both face to face. I have heard all about how you helped our 3 friends. My sincerest thanks to you.
Yeah, short of getting them their visions back, it seems like there's no way to really help them. Ayaka.
Because now that you have done the 3 things I asked of you...
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. But isn't Toma your...
Oh. Paimon, you are most entertaining. Toma is first and foremost my friend, and was so before he ever became my attendant.
Oh, okay then. Ayaka, you seem pretty different out in the open compared to how you are behind the screen.
Thank you both. Back to the matter at hand. You have now witnessed the pain of those deprived of their visions. Thunders roar, light, but I believe that surely you understand what they must endure. It seems that perhaps now you can appreciate my feelings. You will? Really? Naturally.
All right, bravo, my lady.
See? I told you he wouldn't reject them. I'd place my trust in the... Now then, given that the remainder of our discussion pertains to matters of a more confidential nature, perhaps...
Well, here we are again.
Please continue without me. I'll keep watch.
So, what's the deal with this place anyway? What makes it your favorite meeting spot?
This is land that was gifted to the... Such privileges exist due to the Yashiro Commission's role in managing ceremonial affairs. Often...
Oh, Paimon gets it! Gotta keep a bit of...
Once the number of ceremonial affairs conducted in the city began to decline, our forebears built a tea house here. Only members of the Yashiro Commission...
Makes sense.
In any case, we can talk freely here. I presume you have a few... The almighty Shogun. I've seen her on but only a few occasions, most of them formal ceremonies. She inspires awe. It was her almost complete... The issue is that, after all, because of this...
How can they be...
Nevertheless...
Resistance?
Yes. Many who have lost are to say a little more about Sangono, but I do wonder whether... Of course. They invariably adopt... It almost makes one...
Ooh, Paimon has a question.
Oh? What would you...
Have you got a plan yet?
To be honest, we do not. Please, do not...
So what are we gonna do?
Well, for the moment, for example...
You're telling Paimon that there are people out...
Don't underestimate the talents of the craftspeople in Hanamizaka. To the naked eye, their counterfeits are indistinguishable from the genuine article. The problem we are facing right now is that Master Masakatsu, who is providing us with counterfeit visions, has...
Darn!
Yes. We knew it was not a long-term solution, and that it was only a matter of time before it would be... Exactly. I feel the same... By no... When you are ready, go to Hanamizaka.
Take this!
You want to know who you'll be meeting in Hanamizaka?
Is this an answer from this world?
Yeah! Yeah! You can't run! Yeah!
Here you are.
Don't be a killjoy. It'll just be miscalculated.